It's just funny how life works. I was at my lowest point of the journey because I had just spent 8 months trying to get to Warren Buffett. And it ended up as a giant disaster. I ended up hacking a shareholders meeting, and I was at my lowest point. And at my lowest point, if there's one theme from this book, it's that it would be my best friends who would pull me back up. And one of my best friends said, let's go get sandwiches at this grocery store. And sure enough, while we were sitting on the sidewalk talking about how miserable I am and how I have no hope, this car pulls up and out walks Larry King. And if you're anything like me, that's actually when I get the most terrified, when things line up that perfectly. I'm actually much better when things are going wrong and I have to, push my way. When things line up perfectly, that's when I freeze. I call it the flinch. And I ended up chasing Larry King through this grocery store and sort of imposing myself, asking if I can go to breakfast with him. And he very reluctantly said yes. And when I show up at breakfast, and I finally, get the chance to meet him, I tell him about the book, and he says, yes, I'll do an interview, but I'm not the person you need to talk to. He points to this guy sitting next to him in this baseball cap and a hoodie, and he says, this is who you want to talk to. And I thought, I don't know if I told you, and he probably was. I thought he was pushing me off.
He was definitely pushing me off. He was like, Cal, give the kid 5 minutes, okay? And then come back to the table, please.
Wingman.
But you got to realize,
he gets this every day.
People are coming up to the breakfast table, and I've been having breakfast with Larry every day since I came up to help him write his book in 2008. So I'm seeing this happen every day. And quite often, Larry would say, can you give him 5 minutes? And I would do it. And this time when this was different.
Our 5 minutes turned into 3 hours that first morning.
Yeah.
And now we're sitting together at a table in Alex's house years later. So what was special? What did you see in Alex then?
So what happened is, I'm thinking, okay, 5 minutes. And I went over, I sat down and I asked him, are heroes dead?
Is that your first thing you said to him?
Yeah.
Wow.
And he said, no. And we got into a conversation about this.
Well, I told him who my heroes are, and he said, you just proved my point. I've never heard of either of those 3 people. I told him 3 people.
But my point was, look, like we're losing Nelson Mandela. We're losing Muhammad Ali. And I don't know who the heroes are going forward. And so Alex saying, I said, who are your heroes? And he said,
remember who he said?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I remember.
He said, Elliot Bisnow. Elliot Bisnow. And he says, Tim Ferriss. Tim Ferriss. Who is Tim Ferriss? I never heard of this guy. And he says, well, he's got a podcast and millions of people listen every week.
Tony Hsieh.
Mentioned Tony Hsieh.
That's right. And Gary Vaynerchuk. Right. Which when I was a freshman in college, these were, in my head, the people who figured it out. To me.
I had no idea who any of these people were. And then I'm saying, how can they be heroes? We don't have no idea who they are. And so the conversation went for 3 hours. It just took off in a lot of directions, made me very curious. And then when he was explaining what he was doing with the certainty that in 6 months he was going to be sitting down with Oprah Winfrey and just a collection of people that it takes, like Larry King, a lot of time to put on the schedule. I'm just thinking, like, this is just crazy. He's in a lot of trouble. So we left that day with me giving him that advice that, I really don't think you're going to get Oprah Winfrey in the next 6 months. These things are going to take a lot of time. And then you got to learn to write.